Hi, everyone. Thank you for attending the second part of our forum. This part of the forum is for VPs for classroom faculty. There will be two candidates, David Stern and Christine Tuaillon. There'll be 5-minute opening statements, followed by 3 minutes to respond to questions, and concluding with a 2-minute closing statement. And of course, we have Susan Mitchell and her bell. Could you ring it one more time?
I'll ring it one time when there's 10 seconds left and 2 times when you're done.
Okay, cool. Okay, so first we'll start with opening statements. So Dave, you want to go first?
Is this me? Oh, Dave. Okay.
Oh, Dave.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay, great.
Yes. Well, first, I want to thank the membership and the committees for this forum. I'm a write-in candidate, David Stern. When you fill in your ballot, you need to write in my full name, David Stern. During the last forum, there was a comment in the chat room, and I feel I strongly believe in transparency. So there was a question in the chat regarding why are writing candidates participating. And I just want to let you know that my petition was submitted 83 minutes late because my 95-year-old World War II Battle of the Bulge surviving dad fell and required immediate medical attention. I'm his healthcare proxy, so I chose to put my energies and time into that. And thankfully, he's doing much better now. Now, I'm running because of my passion for the NCC mission. And that's to provide a quality education, especially for students that are shunned from other institutions because of cost, previous substandard education, or academic immaturity. I strongly believe hard work and our membership contributions are central to realizing this mission. We need a proactive and effective union to approach the magnitude of challenges we face. I strongly believe in working collaboratively, and accordingly, I've worked with many of our members, including NCCFT officers, previous and current, most recently addressing the ventilation, mold, and temperature issues. I ask for your write-in vote so I can be more effective in contributing to the success of our union. Our college works because of the NCC membership and in spite of the hurdles placed in front of us by a poorly run administration. The conditions of our building, of the buildings we work in, is only a metaphor for the decline in the resources available to us. Our membership has been gutted, and each and every one of you have had an increased workload with minuscule increases. But we're not hopeless because we're unionized, and accordingly, we have tools available to us to improve our situation. Our new president, Farron Siminoff, has already grabbed onto these tools. With regard to health and safety, in just 6 weeks, we've gotten NYSET to switch their labor relations specialist assigned to our union. And this specialist has lots of health and safety experience. We've had a consultation with the NYSET-funded ventilation expert. The Health and Safety Committee has developed a questionnaire that will soon be distributed to help track the situations on campus and especially the health of our members. President Williams has directed his staff to meet with us. I will work to improve our working conditions and compensation. I will bring my expertise to further assist the NCCFT budget, academic, and health and safety issues. I will be available and receptive to your questions and suggestions. I will uphold our contract and its protections. The contract secures our professional lives, and I will strive to improve upon it. So my focus, if I'm elected, number one, we need to save our jobs, no question. 2, Support the initiatives of our NCCFT president, executive committee, and executive board. Create clear, open, timely communication with our members, an open door policy. Protect our members from abusive disciplinary actions that fail to follow the contract's progressive discipline requirements that's intended for collaborative remedies instead of punishments. Protect members by enforcing the contract. Addressing potential unsafe and unsanitary building conditions. Protect and strengthen our health insurance. Improve and enhance our dental plan. Protect members against overwhelming and unreasonable workloads. Improve contract language that does not reflect the current technology or working conditions. Rebuild our membership with replacement lines, adding diversity. Work to end the legacy of dwindling support.
We got
Is
10
that 1
seconds,
minute?
Dave.
10 seconds?
10
Okay.
seconds.
So if elected, I'll be a strong defender in protecting our members from unfair, I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
Okay, Christine, you ready?
So I'm ready. So why am I running and who I am? I have been a member of the NCC faculty for over 30 years. I've been full-time and I care greatly about how faculty, how college, and how student. I feel that with my long experience with NCC, I can make a difference. I am uniquely qualified to become the VP of classroom faculty, as I have experience both as a non-classroom faculty and as a classroom faculty. I can understand issues that can arise for classroom faculty. I can understand issues that arise for non-classroom and professional faculty, because for 12 years, I was a full-time TA in the biology department. My 25 years of active involvement with the union and my experience as a chair of several college-wide committees have prepared me to be an effective union officer and a good leader. Some of my goals, if I was elected to VP of classroom faculty, I want to protect our contractual right. I want to strengthen our union contract and negotiate for fair raise. I want to improve working conditions for both the classroom and the non-classroom professional faculty. And I have to add that as somebody who was a TA, when you work in a non-ventilated building or when you work in a building with mold, if you're a professional or a non-classroom faculty, you're going to spend way more hours in that building, and this is going to affect your health way more. So I really understand why it's important to take care of health and safety issues. I want to ensure that all health and safety regulations are enforced and followed. I want to advocate tirelessly for new faculty line in order to lessen the stress experienced by many departments because of the loss of full-time line. No full-time faculty have been hired in the biology department. And I know I may not look so old, but I have a daughter who's going to be 30 years old. I've been at Nassau over 30 years. So I've been here a long time. And for example, in my own biology department, I'm the second youngest of all the teaching faculty. So I'm sure there is many departments who need a new line in order to run correctly the program. And this is a really very important issue. I just will talk more about my qualification in the next part. I think there is a question about qualifications.
You're muted.
I get it. That's Dave and Christine introducing themselves. And for the first question, Christine will go first and Dave will go second. Please describe your interpretation of the role of the NCCFT Executive Committee, its relationship to the Executive Board, and the membership as a whole. As a follow-up, what do you feel are the primary responsibilities of the department? Okay, so Christine.
Okay, So what is my interpretation of the role of the NCCFT Executive Committee? First and above all, the NCCFT Committee's role is to protect and make sure that how contract is enforced. I followed the leadership in trading position, which means that about 10 years ago, I was selected by the NCCFT Executive Board to sit in every single NCCFT Executive Board meeting for a whole semester. So this made me understand very clearly what the role of the NCCFT Executive Committee is. And one of the things I remember very clearly is at every committee, every executive committee meetings, there was a contract in front of each person. So enforcing the contract, making sure the contract is followed is the first most important role of the NCCFT Executive Committee. You want to make sure that the contract is not being loosely interpreted by the administration in order to reallocate people for other job position. I know right now there's an issue with the technologist, where all the technologists are going to be reassigned to the IT department. As a member of the biology department and as many other department, we do have technologists in our department, and they serve the need of the department. To think that allocating them to IT will serve the need of any department is absolutely not going to happen. Our technologists are specifically trained for their job in the biology department, and I'm sure that the technologists in physical science are trained for the job in physical science. The technologists in math are trained for the job in math. And I'm not going to list all the department. Communication may have some technologists, but my point is, as a VP of the union, I would make sure that the administration is not overstepping the contract by reallocating the technologies to ITS. And yes, I saw the email. Also, in order to, the role of the NCC Executive Committee is also to make sure that any major issue that can affect union,
10 seconds, 10 seconds.
Okay, so it's also the role of the NCCFT Executive Committee is to work with all committees, NCCFT committees, and to work with all faculty, and to work also with all the individual faculty.
Okay.
Okay, the executive committee holds the responsibility to achieve the goals of the union. And the main goals of our union is our working conditions and our compensation. The executive board, they're the representatives of our unit, and they shouldn't just be simply conduits of information as they've been used in the past, but we really need to use them for their ideas. I mean, they're the ones who have great ideas of what's happening in their own departments and can bring it to the larger body. And we could discuss that and come up with solutions. You know, last year, I helped promote this difference in our executive board by proposing a resolution regarding the ventilation issue. And it passed, it's passed by a wide margin by the committee, and it was brought up to the executive committee, and then they took action on it. Since it was brought up and I saw, I'm a little bit upset because I saw that email also about the technologists. And I'd like to just clarify with that. I'm going to just go a little away from the question and deal with this. Our contract does give the administration the ability to move people around. However, there is other avenues that we can use to stop this. This is so ridiculous. And the avenues are not necessarily in our contract. It goes back to our broader management of the college. We almost lost Middle State's accreditation because of mismanagement of the college before. They were able to blame it on our shared governance system, but we still have this administrative problems. And this is a perfect example. Middle State's required us to have a real master plan. And we have an academic plan. We have all kinds of components to that master plan. I encourage everyone to look at it. I don't recall anything in that master plan talking about rearranging the technologists without conferring to any of the departments. So I would say this, if elected vice president, I would fight hard. I'd bring in every tool available to us to prevent this mismanagement of the college. And this most recent, just tonight, just this afternoon, is just yet another example of how our students and our members are suffering because we need better administrators. Now, we really can't change that, but what we can do is we could offer leadership. We can offer solutions. We could ask the questions like, where is this in the master plan?
10 seconds.
Okay. President Williams always talks about data-based management decisions. I'd like to see the data. I think our union should right away be asking, where's the data that supports making this horrible decision of moving the technologists around? Thank you.
Okay, on to question number 2. So first it'll be Dave and then Christine. For question number 2, do you see room for improvement with our promotion process? If so, what are the ways in which you believe we can improve the promotion process at NCCFT?
Thank you. Okay. This is one of the best parts of our contract, where our peers determine our promotions, not some administrator. We all should express our gratitude to past, current, and future members of the P&T for their enormous hours and their seriousness that they bring to this process. The best group of members to evaluate the promotion process, the process itself, is past and current members of the P&T. However, there is one area that appears to be in need of review, and that is in regard to feedback. I'm a strong believer in transparency, and I think it may improve the process if there was some kind of process that would be able to inform members that are not recommended for promotion as to why the P&T came to that decision. My understanding is that the current P&T procedures keep this information confidential and denies the applicant, and the denied applicant is often frustrated without knowing the details of the deficiencies of their application. The other area of the promotion process that could be evaluated is the actual contractual requirements for promotion. I believe the current requirements for classroom ranks are fine and we shouldn't touch them. However, I'm less familiar with the other ranks, but understand that there is some need for additional promotion levels. I would seek the guidance from those members to figure out from those ranks how we would change or add levels. I'd like to also add that I think it's unfair that our contract has the link lecturer rank with significant lower compensation for equivalent work. Not only can these members, not only can these members not be promoted to professor rank, but their title pays less than $7,000, the equivalent academic instructor rank. The college has also resisted hiring new members, but we should strive to retain the members currently here by enhancing promotion opportunities. Having not served on the P&T, I fully recognize that I may not have all the facts. Accordingly, I think the best group to deal with many of these issues are, again, the former and current P&T members. Thank you.
Christine?
Okay, so I'm not sure if Dave has ever been a P&T member, but I have been on several P&T committee, and I'm actually currently a member of the P&T. So as a former and current member of the P&T, I find that it's very important to empower the P&T committee, which is democratically elected by all the faculty every year. The to support the autonomy of the elected body of the executive committee, I feel that it is the role of the executive committee to give guideline to the PNT committee, and then the PNT committee can address issues as they arise. And by the way, Dave, the issue that you mentioned was discussed at the PNT meeting. So, and I will not say more. So I feel that best is to leave the PNT handle internal question as they come, and for the NCCFT executive committee to give guideline for the PNT to solve issue as they arise. Since I still have quite a bit of time, right? So can I talk about the previous question? Can I answer the previous question that I didn't finish? Can I use the time?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so in the previous question, I didn't address how I was seeing the role of the executive committee with the executive board. So the role of the executive committee with the executive board is to inform the member of the executive board of union issues that arise at the college level, also union issues that can arise at the national level, and also ask the executive board member to report to the executive committee at those board meetings issues that arise in the department. I think it's really important to have a discussion between executive board committee and executive board member. Lastly, as the role of the departmental rep is to bring back to the department the information that they obtain at the executive board meeting, and to ask during department meeting the department member if there is any issues that they want to raise at the next executive board. I was an executive rep. I was a board member for the biology department for 9 years, so I know the importance
10 seconds.
of the work for the rep. That's fine.
Okay, thanks. Moving on to the third question. Christine, this time you'll go first, and Dave, you'll go second. Will the NCCFT demand a financial audit of the college, its finances, and how the CARES money has been spent? When will the NCCFT do a physical audit of the buildings for mold and ventilation problems related to SARS-CoV-19?
Okay, so I mean, the question is will, and there's another question that was when. As somebody who's not yet elected as VP, I cannot answer will or when, but what I can answer is if I am elected as VP of the NCCFT, I will definitely discuss with the other executive member of the committee to demand a financial audit of the college, its finance, and how the CARES money has been spent. I mean, I feel it's really, really important for the executive committee of the union to ask those questions, and that these questions are answered ASAP. So for the second part of the question, same thing. I cannot really answer the will and when because I am not a member of the NCCFT executive board yet. However, I just want to modify it a little bit, the question, because the question says an audit of the physical, a physical audit of the building for mold and ventilation problem related to SARS-CoV-19. As somebody who was a faculty, professional non-classroom faculty, I had to deal in the early 1990s with exposure to chemicals, which resulted to health issue for myself because I had to work in a room that was not properly ventilated. When I had to work in room that was not properly ventilated, I filled out report repeatedly with the health and safety office of the college. At the time, the union did not have a health and safety committee. If this were to happen now, I would file a health report every single time that a health issue will happen. Eventually, because of my numerous health report filed, the college was directed to ventilate the room. And as a side note, when Ezra Deloney was hired as VP for physical to manage the facility at NCC, Beverly Harrison was taking him on a walk of the facility, including the biology department. And when she saw me, she pointed to me and she told him, this is because of her. We had to spend thousands of dollars in ventilating the storage room of the biology department. So on a personal level, I have dealt with issues of ventilation. And if I were to be elected VP, I would be working very closely with the Health and Safety Committee. And by the way, there have been mold issues since 1984 at NCC. And in 2002, there was a report from NIOSH about the mold issue in NCC. So this is an old issue.
Okay, Dave?
Okay. All right. Well, this question has like three parts to it. The overall NCC finances, specific spending on the Federal CARES Act money, and the audit of the conditions of the college's physical plant. I'll first focus on the last one, which I think is the most dangerous situation facing our membership, and that's inadequate mold control and ventilation. As many of you know, I've been a vocal proponent of getting the college to use some of the monies available to control this situation, some of the $34 million that's available through the CARES Act to finally fix the mold issue, mold and ventilation issues. I came to this position when, as serving as acting chair in my department, when one of my staff shared the mold conditions in their office. In the past, other NCCFT members have approached me because they know my expertise and have asked me about, what's going on with the air condition, the conditions of air in our buildings. So, one thing I realized as I was invited to or asked to be co-chair of the Health and Safety Committee with Gina Shipley, and we both realized, the committee realized that we have a lot of eyes and ears, but eyes around the campus, and that what we really should do is start, tracking and collecting data on the occurrence of mold areas. The one area that we haven't grasped yet is the health effects and how to be able to train our members, how they should be alert to how their health may be changing subtly because of exposure to our buildings. So I think the first step is really trying to get that information that we then can first bring to the administration, because certainly the first route, we should at least make an attempt to collaborate with the administration, even though I've already expressed how I feel about their abilities. I still think it's worth an effort to see if they can do something in the immediate issues. The next thing I would say is, if we can't get these things fixed, and they're going to force us, and many of us are already on campus, then they should at least provide treatment processes. And New York City school district, the New York City public school system, one minute.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. Okay. They've provided 2 HEPA air filters for every classroom. There's money to do that right here at Nassau. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to question 4. This time, Dave, you'll go first, and Christine, you'll go second. Can you discuss your experiences that would help your performance of the task as VP?
Okay, prior to becoming an academic, I was executive director of a New York State Legislative Commission and also a supervisor of the pathogen program for the New York City water supply. Both these roles involved managing a large staff and multi-million-dollar budgets. These roles also involved strategizing and collaborating to achieve major policy goals. I received a commendation for my work when I worked for the New York City Water Supply from the Commissioner of the Water Supply, DEP, praising my leadership and scientific knowledge and noting that the EPA was so impressed that they intended to adopt my approach as a model. That was prior to being an academic. Coming to Nassau, I was elected twice as first vice chair of the Academic Senate, and I served under both Chair Edwin Boyden and Evelyn Deluty. Both these former chairs can attest to the value of my advice, expertise, contributions to their success. These same skills will be of value to our union with me assisting the president and the executive committee. I also recently served as acting chair of my own department, and it was quite a learning experience of how the chairs are hampered in a lot of ways. I give a lot of credit to our chairs. There was supposed to be there was a big disaster last spring as far as the adjunct contracts, and the chairs demanded that this be improved. Vice President Lauch wrote up a report. I think it was written up quite a few months ago, and the college refuses to release that report. These are things, I think, experiences that I've had that I could see some of the inner workings from the chair's perspective. More recently, as many of you know, I've joined a lot of NCCFT committees, including the Health and Safety Committee, and I've worked with our treasurer, Carolyn, on budget issues. I worked with the previous executive committee members and the current executive committee members. So I think one of the most pressing issues that we have are health and safety. And I've been working very closely with our President Siminoff, in promoting that health and safety. And I think all these experiences will only be enhanced if I'm able to provide my expertise and experience at the vice president level. Thank you.
Okay, Christine.
So I already mentioned that I've been at NCC for over 30 years. I was the biology departmental rep for the NCCFT for 9 years. I have served on the biology department P&B. I have been a member of 3 NCCFT crisis committee and was a co-chair of a subcommittee. As I mentioned, I was for 12 years non-classroom faculty, a TA in the biology department. When I was a TA, I was a very vocal advocate for non-classroom faculty issues, in particular for the issues of snow days, of promotion to P4 and above, and about health and safety. And actually my advocacy for health and safety led the college to do some ventilation in the room, and there was remediation for mold in the F building and in other building. When after the blizzard of 1996, the administration refused to give non-classroom faculty snow days, even though the county was closed, I was one of the 3 non-classroom faculty who insisted to be a volunteer to be co-plaintiff in the class action grievance that the NCCFT had about improper use of house sick day. The NCCFT won the grievance, and every single non-classroom faculty won their sick day back. This paved the way for our union to negotiate for snow days in contract later for the non-classroom professional faculty when the contract was up for negotiation. Also, eventually the union negotiated for a pass to P4 and P5 rank. Those of you who are in the P rank, you may remember that there was a time that you could not go above P3. So when I was a professional faculty, I advocated very strongly for being able to move to P4 and P5. I already mentioned about the health and safety issue. I've been an active member of many NCCFT committee, promotion and tenure 2-time, health and safety. I was also a member of health and safety for 3 years. And my view as the VP is that the VP should be working really closely with the health and safety committee and really follow through and push the health and safety committee to do to ask for a building audit for mold. I also was a member, I am a member and I'm a former chair of the Political Action Committee, so I have experience working with the politician of Nassau County and the both county legislator and a state senator. When I was did you ring the bell?
10 seconds.
Okay, so I feel that with all my experience with the college and the NCCFT, I am the perfect candidate to be UVP and to serve all NCCFT members.
Okay, next question. For question number 5, Christine, you'll go first. Dave, you will go second. This is a little redundant, but how will you address health and safety issues on campus? So anything on this topic you haven't said, now you have the time to say.
So you're talking about how we addressed today health and safety issues on campus?
Yes.
Okay, and I go first.
Will you in the future?
Oh, I mean, it's not will you. I mean, for me, it's not a question of will you. We have to. I mean, you know, we have to address health and safety issues. It's not a question of will you. Of course, it is the role of the executive committee and the health and safety committee to address health and safety issues. So how would I address health and safety issues? The first thing to do is to document every single instance when somebody feels sick when coming to the building. And I mean, I have worked enough time at NCC to know that there are many faculty, including myself, who have had watery eyes, who have got runny nose, sore throat, just because they are working in a moldy building. So I feel that it's really important that the union, the executive committee of the union, tell every single union member that they must report detail of each day, which room they are experiencing a health issue. Secondly, I would ask the administration to test the building for mold. It was done in the past. The building were tested for mold in the past, so there is no reason that the administration cannot test the building for mold. Actually, I find in my paper on health, I used to be a member of the Health and Safety Committee, so I find a little paper, and the paper it's a report from Nassau County Department of Health in consultation by the New York State Department of Health Division of Environmental Health and Safety. The first sentence of the report says, since 1984, Nassau Community College has had a problem with mold growth and water damage in the cluster. The problem is the result of water condensing on the chilled water air conditioning pipes during the summer. These pipes are located above the drop ceiling in the second floor faculty office. Such condensation saturates the pipe insulation, ceiling tile carpet, and other nearby building material, providing suitable environment for mold growth. This is from 1984. So what has been done since 1984? Every time the remediation has been done, the college changed the tile. And I was on campus last week and I saw workers changing the tile in the office on the second floor of the F building. So it's not cosmetic that has to be done, but it's a total remediation of the water pipe and all the ventilation of the building that needs to be made.
Okay, Dave.
Okay, this is question 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Well, how would I address the health and safety issues? Well, I think everyone kind of sees how I've been addressing it over the last couple of months, starting with the resolution as a member of the executive board. You know, as I mentioned before, I think gathering data, being able to use our members to collect some of that data. There were some issues regarding distributing equipment that the administration didn't want us doing, but certainly the union could purchase some equipment to monitor. You know, one thing that's a good measure is carbon dioxide in the classrooms. And basically, because humans put out carbon dioxide, it gives you an indication of how well the air is being exchanged in that room. So one thing that I plan to advocate for is that we have CO2 monitors in each of the classrooms, so everyone could see, again, transparency. Administrators, faculty, staff can see, you know, how well the rooms are being ventilated. Now, Christine had mentioned some of the previous studies since the buildings have been built, the newer buildings on campus. And that's not just the clusters, that's the G building, that's the life science building. Unbelievably, the newest part of our campus, which is the student service center, they all have mold issues. They're coming from either inadequate HVAC, not being able to remove humidity out of the air, and it's been designed, it was improperly designed that way. Leaky pipes. I learned as health and safety co-chair that the library, they were remediating mold, but the pipe was still leaking. Isn't it common sense? You fix the leak first before you clean up the mold. You know, again, it's just another example that the college is very poorly managed, and we have to take up the slack. I hate to say it, but the only protection we have as a membership is our union. And as vice president, that's my perspective, that we're here to protect you, that we're here to gather the resources. I also want to mention that with President Simonov's efforts, we now have NICET resources. I think we were both surprised, both Farron and I, that there are a lot of resources available at with NICET with regard to health and safety. And we're utilizing those resources. And as vice president, I would maximize all that we have available to us. Thank you.
Okay, question number 6. Dave, you'll go first. Christine, you'll go second. When will the NCCFT conduct a physical audit of college buildings for mold and ventilation issues? Clearly, this is a major thing related to COVID-19. Will the NCCFT consider a financial audit or lawsuit demanding transparency of college finances and accountability of how CARES money has been spent?
Okay. So the first part dealing with the mold situation and a physical audit, the union can't do that on its own. It needs permission from the college. We could bring in NICOSH. There's entities, state entities, and union-oriented entities that could come on campus and do that evaluation. Unfortunately, like NICOSH, which is the New York State equivalent of OSHA, Occupational Health and Safety, they generally work with the entity more than with the occupants of the buildings. So I don't think we necessarily would get the relief that we're seeking by having those entities by themselves do that audit. But what I suggest is being most knowledgeable. You know, as a scientist, you know, obviously I feel very strongly about this. And a good example, I was able to tutor Farron on a lot of these health and safety issues. So when she met with President Williams, she was able to be a lot more targeted in asking questions of President Williams. And for instance, she was able to get out of him, we're going to have a meeting, the Health and Safety Committee is going to have a meeting with his staff, the health and safety, the people on campus responsible for health and safety. But in addition to that, he indicated that he is open to the idea of allowing audits to occur on campus. That's a big thing for us, I think. That's a big win that we had just occurred last week when Farron met with the president. Now, we should also be working with our PAC, our union PAC, to broaden this out to a larger community. As far as the financial part, I haven't talked much about the financial part, but I'd like to. First, I'd like to say we have a wonderful treasurer. I've worked with Carolyn since last year. I've gotten even more active on budget issues, and I've worked with Carolyn. She's a wonderful treasurer. She certainly knows a lot. And what we could do is we could do some of this. It seems like some of the money gets hidden in the budget as chair. What I discovered, and my current chair knows this, that what they do is they put lines in your department, and then they say you can't hire anybody. So then they take those lines and they use it for other things later on. So that's one way I know they're hiding money, in our campus. Look, we've lost a third of our membership, right? Where did that money go? Yes, we've lost enrollment. I understand that. But you know what? We have a lot of promotions of administrators. You look at how many vice presidents and associate presidents we have. A lot of money went there, and it wasn't. It was the top administrators. We have an administrative union that has been screwed. Excuse my language, but they don't even have a contract. Okay, sorry.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. Okay, so last I would say is the CARES Act definitely needs to be investigated as well.
Okay, Christine.
Okay, so in terms of the audit, I think I already answered that question. If I'm elected as a VP of classroom faculty, I definitely will work really hard with Farron and all the other executive board members to ask for audit of the finance. And I know, because I remember the Astra years when Farron was foiling the college, so I have no doubt in Farron's ability to foil the college to ask for financial information. So I definitely will be very much pushing to get that information. In terms of health and safety, I already talked quite a bit about health and safety. One of the things I want to say that as VP, I would work very closely with the chair of the Health and Safety Committee. And I see that Dave is an excellent chair of the Health and Safety Committee. So I would be really happy as a VP to work with Dave as the chair of the Health and Safety Committee. I wanted to also bring the budget into terms of how can we get money for the college. And I wanted to give an example. I am a member of the PAC, and I used to be a member of the Political Action Committee. So I have gone many times to Albany to lobby for the college and to lobby for the college budget. In particular, there was a time where the governor wanted to cut funding for daycare centers. And I remember talking with the New York State Nassau County legislator in his office in Albany. And I told him about how great our daycare center was on campus. And he told us, he said, I would be glad to visit the daycare center. Following that discussion with the legislator, we invited several times when I was chair and later when I was a member of the PAC, several Nassau County legislators to visit the children greenhouse. And I have to say they were very impressed, and those legislators lobbied hard the state to keep the funding. So I have seen firsthand as a member of the Political Action Committee how important the lobbying to the politician for increased FTE money, for example. So, these are all ways that we can improve the budget. So what else? I think, yeah. Oh, it's over.
10 seconds.
So, okay, so I will be very active into asking for an audit, lobbying the politician for increase in our budget, and working really closely with the chair of the Health and Safety Committee.
Okay, we're now up to closing statements. Dave, you'll go first, and then Christine.
Okay. Based on the questions of this forum, it's clear that the membership is very concerned about the terrible physical shape of our campus, and for good reason. I'll tell you what's not in terrible shape. That's a quality education at NCC. And that's because of all the hard work, the hardworking that all of us do at the college. It's time for us to be proactive and find solutions to our loss of resources. We need a leadership team that's able to react to rapid changes like the one on technologists today. I believe I'm the best candidate based on my skill set that I demonstrated both before I came to Nassau and at my time here at Nassau. When you consider voting for me, please consider also voting for Suzanne. In the recent past, I was part of a slate of NCC officer positions, and I came to know her work and her advocacy. I know she'd make a great secretary. I thank all of you for attending, and please write my full name, David Stern, if you choose to select me for vice president. I'd also like to answer one of the chat comments since I have a little bit of time, and that's I was the delegate to the FCC statewide entity and also the Academic Senate, and I believe I'd be a strong advocate for academics. Our vice president of academic affairs has no voice on the cabinet, so we need to provide that voice as a membership. Thank you.
Okay, Christine.
So I mentioned, I keep repeating myself that I have a really long experience with the college and the NCCFT. I also have a long experience chairing some college-wide committee. In particularly, since 2012, I am the appointed chair of the Fringe Benefit Committee, and I work very closely with the NCCFT treasurer, Caroline Falconetti. So I have shown my ability to work closely with officers of the executive committee. And by the way, talking about the dental plan, in 2020, I initiated as the chair of the committee a dental plan survey to assess how the need of how faculty were met with how current self-insured dental plan. And the result of the survey were sent to the faculty in the fall 2021. And currently the French Benefit Committee is exploring several avenues to improve our dental plan. As a professor, as a NCCFT vice president, I will work tirelessly with the NCCFT president and the other NCCFT executive committee member to ensure that how contract is respected and strengthened, and I will oppose any new section in how contract that will affect negatively how member. As a union officer, I will ensure that existing sections such as the progressive disciplinary process are not being loosely interpreted as a permission to indiscriminately and harshly discipline our member without just cause. As a NCCFT officer, I will always have an open door policy. And if any of you know me, you know I have very high energy. It's this time of my life that I have a lot of time that I can dedicate to the union.
Time.
Okay, everyone, thank you very much for attending this second section of our forums. Have a good night, and remember, voting opens tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Thank you very much for organizing the forum.
Good night, everyone.
Okay, good night, everyone.